Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, and today we're going to be talking about Ironside, a new free-to-play first-person shooter developed by Whipple Games and published by Area Games. Now for people that don't know about Ironside, it's trying to become the free-to-play option for Call of Duty fans. A blend of Modern Warfare type kill streaks, movement and weapon mechanics, but in the futuristic setting seen in games like Infinite Warfare. Area Games, who publish another free-to-play first-person shooter called Wolf Team, are starting their closed beta on the 24th of November, and they have some founders packs available. Now at the moment, I don't suggest buying them until I get some gameplay videos up and some first impression videos up of Ironside, so you guys can go and make the decision if it's worth dropping some money on, so make sure to be subscribed for that. Now let's get into the gameplay that you can go and see on your screen, and there is definitely a lot to talk about. In the initial trailer a year ago, the graphics look pretty insane, but it's obvious now that was CG as the new gameplay trailer shows that the game doesn't have nearly as much detail in terms of the graphics. Now that's a big down point for some, but not me. My computer and computer free-to-play fans everywhere are complete trash, and in the end of it, I'm going to go and turn the graphics down to the lowest possible settings anyway, so I can get as high of an FPS count as possible. Combat Arms did the whole graphics update, but nobody really cared because the gameplay is what people go and play for. Have a look at Ironside now. It's targeting a really big demographic of people with really bad computers but want a multiplayer first-person shooter experience. Crossfire dropping off. When you have a look at Ghost in the Shell, that game's getting shut down. Combat Arms, they try to upgrade their graphics, but in the end of it, they just went and segregated their player base even more with a reloaded update. Ironside is coming into a demographic that hasn't been cornered properly. If they can go and do everything right, I think there's a very big spot for this in the free-to-play realm. And further backing up my point, while Ironside might not look the best, that's the last thing I and a lot of people really care about, because have a look at the minimum and recommended specifications. Minimum, Intel Core 2 Duo, 2 gigs of RAM and a 9600 GT. Now let me remind you, when this card was released, it was a low-end graphics card. It was released in 2011, and the Core 2 Duo, that was released in 2006. I'm confident any computer nowadays can go and run this game, and that makes me very excited. The recommended specs are decent as well. It says Intel Core i5, but doesn't say what generation, and that is a very big thing. But since it recommends a GTX 650, a card that is over 5 years old, I'm fairly sure we're looking at some very old generation chips. It also recommends 8GB of RAM, but nearly everybody has that amount anyways, and if you only have 4GB of RAM, that isn't the determining factor if you can run this game, yes or no. It really comes down to the graphics card, it really comes down to the processor, and those very low specifications are quite easy to go and match. So with this said, a large percentage of the player base will easily be able to run this game on the recommended settings, and anybody else will have no problem to go and run on the lowest. This type of direction hasn't been taken by a free-to-play game for years, and it's targeting a very significant demographic that nobody has really capitalized on. I do have to point out that the transitions from the CG to the actual trailer is super jarring and makes the graphics look worse than they actually are. Things look worse when you compare it to something better, so it's weird Whipple went for this technique while developing this trailer. Gameplay. It's pretty obvious that it looks futuristic and generic. Out goes Ghost in the Shell First Assault, and boom, here's the replacement. The movement and gun mechanics are nothing new, but again, if they work, they work. It seems that free-to-play companies always want to go and expand outside the box and try the most wacky and insane stuff, when most people just want a good FPS that goes and reminds them of games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, those type of really solid first-person shooters. From the trailer, it's not like I'm drooling over what I can go and see, but it might be one of those hop on for an hour type games that I've been wanting to go and play for quite a long time now. Next up, the elephant in the room, the kill streaks. They're called drones in this game, and you have a larger variety to play with, and this is what will go and split up Ironside from the rest of the games in the free-to-play genre. Now, chaining kills and going on massive sprees is awesome, and if this game lets me go on these insane streaks with chopper gunner rides in between, I'll be a very happy man. Some of them are cool, like the airstrike and the predator missile, but stuff like a drone following behind you and helping you get kills feels a little bit cheesy, but we'll have to go and see. Moving forward, the maps look stock standard, and we don't have much info on the modes. It just says on the website that there will be the classics like Team Deathmatch, but also some PvE based missions which will be nice to go and spice up the action. Supposedly, there are 100 plus weapons to choose from, along with the ability to customize the weapons with different sights, barrels, etc. You can also customize your character by purchasing clothing and equipment. Finally, area games. I've played area games titles in the past, and a lot of them turn out to be pay to win. Now, I'm not going to go and jump to any conclusions here because it's 2017 and free-to-play companies, they're trying to go and get their act straight, but no new games are pay to win. It's obvious what direction needs to be taken, so hopefully area games will go and take us there. They have an interesting game to go and play around with. All they need to do is market it well, hint hint business.uncovereddudes@gmail.com, keep out the hackers, reduce any lag, and not make it pay to win. But let's see what happens. Overall, Ironside is a game that I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about. It looks like a generic type of free-to-play first-person shooter, but in the end of it, I've always wanted a Call of Duty type game where I can just run around and go on these absolutely insane streaks. When you have a look at the landscape right now, Black Squad is one of those games where you can't really go on streaks because if you get shot twice, that's 3/4 of your health gone basically, and you really can't go and do much else. So with this said, if you can feel like a bit of a superhero, like a bit of a super soldier, and just run around spraying people with P90s and jumping around all over the place, I think that's going to be a really good game to go and fit into the free-to-play genre. If you guys are excited about Ironside, please go and tell me in the comment section below, and also leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Also, if you want to go and drop a subscription, that would be absolutely awesome. I'm going to be covering this game, putting out some gameplays and whatnot when it goes live, so make sure to don't go and miss that. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from down under.